I believe that the pre-order for these figures was somewhere around 6 months ago, so I have been patiently waiting for their arrival. Today we are going to be taking a look at and unboxing the 25th anniversary FORM-ISM Zidane and Dagger figures. I'm really excited to finally get to be able to look at them, so I kind of just want to get right into it. I think that these figures are probably the best available Final Fantasy IX figures on the market right now. I know there was a previous line of figures of all of the main adjacent characters. I think those look fine, but they really weren't up to snuff as a big fan of the game for a figure that I would want to have in my collection of the characters. Personally, I think that the FORM-ISM figures are kind of the best of both worlds when it comes to realism and the cartoony style of the game itself. Compared to the previous Final Fantasy IX figures that were released, these align with my personal taste a lot more. They look a whole lot better, and I feel like they're worthy additions to my collection. I'm not really a figure collector person, but I do love Final Fantasy IX. So of course I pre-ordered these as soon as they were released. I don't want to talk too much about the figures before I actually open them up, so let's get into them. Okay, I am most excited for Zidane, so I want to open up Princess Garnet first, just because I don't want my hype about Zidane to overshadow anything about her figure. Just what I can see from the box, you guys might be seeing some glare on the camera, sorry, we're gonna open her up soon. Just from what I can see from the box, I think they did a beautiful job with her. Her face looks so pretty. I'm just gonna take Zidane, put him over here. I believe the correct way to say it is Zidane, but I've always said Zidane, so it's kind of just a muscle memory thing for me, so I'm gonna keep saying Zidane. I'm sorry if that makes me kind of blasphemous. I also say Garnet instead of Garnet. I've said that for a very long time. I'm trying to change because I know the correct way to say it is Garnet, but I have been saying Garnet for a while. Okay, there's more tape on it. Oh, a little difficult to not cut the box there. All right, she should be ready to be opened. Okay, just some information here, how to put her together. I will definitely not read that, even though I probably need to. This way. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, let's get rid of this big box. As usual, the figure is sandwiched between these two pieces. Let's figure out how to unsandwich her. Ooh! That was a little bit more violent than I would have liked it to be. All right, here she is. Take that plastic off. So like expected, she is not posable at all. She is just one solid piece, which personally I kind of prefer. While the action figures are nice, I don't really like the way the posable limbs actually look in practice. I think they always look a little too toy-ish, even though they are action figures. When you're paying $115, tend to feel a little bit weird. So I do like that it's more of a doll. I am personally biased towards dolls anyway, because I just love dolls. Okay, I think we just pop that in over here. All right, her healing rod is in. Pop her on the stand. And we do this like this. A nice base. She fits on really nicely. Good size as well. The figure feels really nice quality, and I really like the way they designed her face. They made her very beautiful, which I appreciate. I think they captured Garnet's essence very successfully. The plastic doesn't feel hollow or anything. It doesn't feel excessively cheap or anything. The texture is really nice. For around a $50 figure, I am really satisfied with the quality, look, shape, and texture of the figure itself. I think it is going to look great as a display piece. Let's set down Garnet now and open up Zidane. All right, So let's now open up Zidane. Let's get that tape off. Like I mentioned earlier, Final Fantasy IX is definitely my favorite Final Fantasy game of the series, and it is usually the most ignored game just because it's so old. We just celebrated the 25th anniversary. There is really not a lot of merchandise that you can get for the game, so as somebody who loves toys and loves collecting, that is a little bit of an issue for me. The release of these figures for the anniversary was really exciting because previously we have only really had the Coca-Cola figures from the Square Enix and Coca-Cola collab and some small, I think, Play Arts figures released previously for 9. Alright, let's free Zidane from his plastic prison. Get that tape off. Let's try and not completely wreck him pulling this plastic off this time. That is a little precarious. Ooh. There we go. Okay. A little bit better luck with this one. One of his daggers fell out already. Let's get this other one out. Ooh. There we go. All right, let's take him out. Here he is. Oh, he's a bit heavy. These figures have a really nice weight to them. I feel if you drop them on the floor, they would make a loud sound and probably break, which is not true for most action figures, but of course these are more statuettes than action figure, your typical action figure. The expression on Zidane's face is something that really attracted me to these figures in the first place. He looks so mischievous and full of personality, which I feel like is lacking in a lot of figures. Is the character's own unique personality. It's usually just a representation of the aesthetics of the character, and they are posable, so you can put them in any situation that you want to or pose them in any way. Because these are already pre-posed and not movable, I really appreciate that they put the life of the character into the figure, and I think with Zidane they did it so accurately. I just really like this figure. It is probably one of my favorite figures of all time. The texture on his clothes is really spot on. Everything looks really great. His hair looks great. A really great attention to detail here is the little bow around his neck and how it is kind of swaying in the wind while he's in his motion action stance. And it looks so good. So let's pop him onto his stand over here. He also has a detachable tail, so we'll put that on as well. Let's get his stand out. Let's get this out of here. Okay, let's pop on his tail and then put him on his stand. Ooh. Let's figure out the best way to put this on. And goes down like this. I do believe his tail goes down like that. That makes sense to me. Let me take a look at the box. All right, let's take a look at the directions. Okay, I did not put it on correctly. Let's twist it up. Can I twist it? Okay, actually, that's about right. I think I just have to pull it up a little bit. There we go. I think that is the correct posing. Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's good. Let's also put on his swords. Okay, those detach. That is a great feature. Something about the Final Fantasy VII Bring Arts figures that I have is that putting on the weapons, I don't know if it's just a me thing, it's kind of difficult. Oh man. Okay, this is a little bit funny. Okay, let's try this hand first. This is kind of weird to put in. Okay, after a bit of struggle, we got his blades in, and here he is. Let's pop him onto his stand. I have been trying for the past 5 minutes to get him on his stand, and I'm having quite a hard time. I don't think that he fits on his stand as well as he probably should. It's a really snug fit, and the holes just don't really align as well as you would expect them to. I was finally able to get his foot in the stand, but then as soon as I put him on the table, it just came out again. So that definitely knocks off some points from the quality of this figure for me, just because over here you can see that he doesn't really fit on the pegs very well. They're just not lined up to where the holes on his boots are, but I am able to get one foot in, and the pegs over here do slide out on the bottom. So I'm probably just going to take those out and just have him sit on the base with no pegs on and just keep him on this foot over here. Because he's going to be stationary on my bookshelf, it doesn't really matter that much to me, but it is kind of a sucky thing that he doesn't really fit on the base properly. Garnet looks really beautiful, which is something I'm really happy about. She looks very princessly, and probably my favorite aspect of the entire figure are her boots. The weathering on the leather and just the detailing of the boots looks like real leather, even though it is plastic, and the texture is really nice. Overall, the colors that they chose for her are incredibly accurate. It feels like a high resolution of Garnet if she was just plucked from the game and made into a little doll. I feel the same thing about Zidane as well. The only thing is that he is just not sitting on his stand very well. He's kind of coming off the stand over here as well, which I don't really mind. I think that is just, it's supposed to be that way because he's in an action stance. It's kind of like he's moving off the stand, which I think is cool. I just wish that he actually fit on. After I'm done recording, I'm going to fiddle with the piece that doesn't fit a little bit more. Maybe I'm just not positioning him accurately or something. The standee, like the stand, also got a little scratch on it. I don't know if that happened while I was trying to fit him on. I can't imagine that any of these pieces would have scratched it, so I do think that it came with a scratch on it, which kind of sucks, but you don't really see it too much, only if you have fingerprints on it, so I am gonna clean it off because I have a whole bunch of fingerprints on it from trying to fit him on. But overall, just like I said with Garnet, I think the texturing on his clothes is really well done. And then with his belt and his all his ties and bows and everything, they used a softer plastic, so they're kind of malleable, which is a great decision for those kind of clothing pieces. And of course, he looks just like how I would expect him to if he was just pulled out of the game and made into a figure. All right, so that is Zidane and Dagger. Overall, I am satisfied with these figures. I don't think the flaws are really make or break, and they look so beautiful. I know I keep saying this, but I'm so excited as Final Fantasy IX is my favorite entry, as I've said so many times. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know that I am a really big Final Fantasy IX fan, as I've also made abundantly clear throughout this video. One of my favorite things about Final Fantasy IX that makes me like it so much is actually the style of the game. So having game accurate figures is really cool. I really do hope that they continue with the FORM-ISM line. I know that there is another Zidane, I believe a Play Arts, that is coming out. I mentioned that before in the video. But I think there is no Dagger. It's just a Zidane for right now. I hope that they make a Freya and Beatrix, because I would definitely get them, especially Freya. She is one of my favorite anthropomorphic characters of all time. She is designed so nicely. I really like the representation of other races in Final Fantasy games, like in Final Fantasy IX and 12, where we don't have just humans. Those games are really appealing to me, and I think it's a really cool concept. My closing statements would be that I am completely satisfied with the figures. They exceeded my expectations. They are a little bit larger than I thought they would be. I thought that they would maybe be like a quarter smaller than what they are. And the only con is that my Zidane, I don't know if he's just a misprint, mismade, or has a manufacturer issue, or if that is just the way that it is. So that is my only real problem with the figures. Overall, I think that they're great, and they are definitely worth the price tag that they were given. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.